programme code, which formalised the concept of the watershed. So who better to test the new limits of tea time telly than this lot?
Get up,
I was head of promotion for EMI Records. And EMI Records just signed the Sex Pistols up.
I am an Antichrist.
That Wednesday, I get a phone call at my office in my Manchester Square, London, at about 2 o'clock. Eric, Mike House here.
They said, yes, we'd like to use the Sex Pistols, you know, will they be okay? I said, well, sure, I'm sure they'll be all right.
Mike was the producer, director, whatever his title was, of a show called Today, Thames TV, local news magazine show.
Mike Housego, the producer, and I were going through the daily papers, and there was a big feature on punks and people with safety pins through their lips and noses, and we were just having a laugh at that, and Mike said, well, you know, basically, well, let's get the fuckers in, have a look.
I phoned up Malcolm McLaren. I said, Malcolm Bubbler, oh, I can't believe it, Eric, you've got the top of the pops. I said, not exactly. You've got a supersonic, not exactly. You got, well, what have you got? I said, Today with Bill Grundy.
Good evening. Do you know what these are? Well, you wouldn't believe it, but they're all planning and consultation documents concerning what we should do about Docklands.
I mean, they were the nastiest, scariest, most horrible group of reprobates in the whole of the country. So what are you doing, getting them on a sort of like a tea time programme?
It's now about 6:25 if the studio clock's right, and I'm beginning to wonder what else there is. Well, I suppose for those fans who appreciate it, I can always take to the piano again to fill up the rest of the time.
Most of the people on the Today programme were actually Fleet Street journalists, and in Fleet Street and in television there was a drinking culture. People did drink.
The loaded gun wasn't the Pistols. The loaded gun was the bloody presenter, was this 65-year-old crusty journalist from the Northwest. And Grundy was always a dangerous person. There's a story once about Bill at the Thames canteen going, "This steak is as tough as old leather. Send me out the manager, I want to punch him." We don't have a manager, have a manageress. "She'll do." So the manageress comes and just lays her out. I mean, the man was crazy.
Bill was notoriously mischievous in that respect.
They got there that afternoon at 6:15, went into the green room.
They made us wait a real long time in what they jokingly call the green room, which was just free drink.
Malcolm was immediately terrified. He wasn't like, oh, goody, goody, I'm going to cause a shock. It was like, oh, my God, my group's out of it, but the presenter is even more out of it.
He drank more than any of us, and he pushed it.
You see, they're as drunk as I am. They're clean by comparison. They're a group called the Sex Pistols.
Bill's central question was, what have you done with the money EMI gave you?
Fucking spent, haven't we? I don't know, have you? Yeah, it's all gone.
I don't know if he noticed, if Bill Grundy noticed the swearing to start with.
Thought it, really? Good Lord. Now, I want to know one thing. Beethoven, Mozart...
And there's a wee bit of kind of goading between Bill Grundy and the band, stuff about classical music, this happened, that happened, no it didn't. And you got the feeling that Bill was maybe missing some of the things that were going on.
Well, suppose they turn other people on.
That's just their touch, Pete.
It's what?
Nothing, a rude word. Next question.
There's a bloke attacking you here and trying to make you look ridiculous. And he's goading you and he's tempting you into, oh, go on, what's that, a naughty word?
Bill was looking for a bit of vulnerability. He thought he'd found it. He went for it, and it led him into deep, deep trouble.
No. What was the rude word?
Shit.
Was it really? Good heavens, you frightened me to death.
All right. See,
what about you girls behind?
Right, you're dead, isn't he, this geezer?
Are you worried or are you just enjoying yourself?
He started talking to one of the girls there.
Enjoying myself.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were doing.
I always wanted to meet you.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Said something like, oh, I've always wanted to meet you, and I kind of pulled a face.
We'll meet afterwards, shall we?
You dirty son.
I mean, you know, please, you know.
And that was when Steve Jones called him...
You dirty old man.
Steve Jones said, you dirty old man, and it just snowballed from there.
Go on, you've got another 5 seconds. Say something outrageous.
You dirty bastard.
So we let him have it.
Go on, again.
You dirty fucker.
What a clever boy.
What a fucking rotter.
Rotter? What a funny thing to say, you know. How antique. It's like something out of Biggles.
What a fucking rotter.
Well, that's it for tonight.
And we wiped his arse off the floor.
He did go to them. If he would have kept his mouth shut, the schmuck, then they would have said what they said.
That's what happens when fake runs into reality.
And I remember us going back to the green room, and there were all these phones in the green room. I remember Steve Jones and me picking up the phones, and there's people complaining about the swearing. And we're saying, oh, fuck off, you stupid cunt. And it was just the next day, it was all the tabloids. It was the filth and the fury, and it was stories of people. I was having my tea and this filth came on, and I was so angry I put my foot through the TV screen, and then I was like, and we were all just really baffled.
If you're going to be accurate about it, it changed English culture, oddly enough. Didn't mean it to, but it did.
It also changed the course of Mr. Grundy's life.
Tomorrow, I'll be seeing you soon. I hope I'm not seeing you again. From me, though, good night.
It's important to remember and sad to reflect that careers were genuinely ended by this stuff.
We know that Bill was virtually sacrificed. I mean, there's no other way of putting it, which is terribly unfair, I think.
Good night.
As punk threatened to infect the country with its gobby ways, the authorities clamped down and censorship returned. Mary Whitehouse was joined by an even more influential soul sister who created a climate of fear for programme makers, forcing colourful drama to be shelved. Bad news for foul-mouthed kids and playwrights, but for comedy writers everywhere, it was naffing Christmas.
Forgive me sounding like Mary Whitehouse, but there is a sense in which if you clean up TV, you put